Hi, everybody. This is God Sad. Hope that you're all doing well in this unique circumstance in our lives. Hang in there. It will hopefully soon be over. Earlier this afternoon, I was watching CNN. I know. It was insane. Somehow the remote control landed on that cesspool of bullshit. And they were talking about a finding that I actually covered a few days ago on my social media, wherein they noticed that in all countries that are led by women, the coronavirus reality has been much superior, and therefore, women. And so, and then they asked Samantha Power, who used to be, I think, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, if I'm not mistaken, appointed by Barack Obama. Why is that? Because she's the luminary who can help us understand sex differences and so on. And she answered, well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but the gist you'll get exactly. Women are possess both rigor and empathy. So this is why the response is better. So it's not just that they're rigorous. I mean, men too might be rigorous, but what men lack, of course, given that men are just pathologies really, then they don't have the necessary empathy for the proper interventions that has led to the great outcomes that we see in countries led by women. Now, of course, that finding itself that countries that are led by women have fared better is itself bullshit on many, many different fronts. I mean, if an undergraduate had submitted for one of my research methodology sections of a course such logic, they would have failed. First, it isn't clear. It depends which dependent measure that you use. If you start cherry picking which measure you like so that you can build your narrative, then of course you can do whatever you want. There's an old little book, How to Lie with Statistics. So I can cherry pick any data that you want to show you, for example, that Bernie Sanders does have a brain. We all know that he doesn't, but I can find you data that suggests that he does have a brain. So number one. Number two, if you were trying to isolate whether it is true that countries that are run by women perform better than those run by men, you would, of course, need a much bigger sample size than the few cases that they've come up with. But then you would recognize that it's a multifactorial problem, meaning there are many, many variables that can affect how well a country fares in the current pandemic, and therefore to simply state that it's a unifactor mechanism whereby women present as leaders superior to when men are present as leaders without controlling for the 13 trillion other variables that might be at play is beyond first level research methods idiocy. It's simply baffling that you can be so idiotic, and it can just pass along as news without anyone saying, hey, wait a second, you can't spew such bullshit, you can't engage in such man hatred without ever being challenged. I mean, look, I'm the guy who fights against the incredible sexism that you see against women in the Middle East. So it's not as though I'm fighting for men's rights here. I fight against any idiotic ideas, and certainly ideas that systematically oppress a class of people. In the past, yes, women were oppressed. In today's environment, certainly amongst our intelligentsia, it is a pathology to be a man. My son is watching CNN with me. How does he feel when some idiot like Samantha Powers, because ovaries, she comes up and says, well, the reason why women are doing better as leaders is because, they have empathy and because they have rigor. That's what it is. So I responded to the moron. And I'm just going to read you my responses because, again, some of you do not follow me on social media. A grave mistake, but one that some of you commit anyways. I'm watching a CNN report on how apparently countries run by women have performed better than those run by disgusting toxic pathologies known as men. Noble female Samantha Power explained why women are driven by both empathy and rigor. Imagine for a moment if a man were to make a similar statement about women. He would have been fired, ostracized, insulted, ruined. But insult men, and it is perfectly progressive. Do you remember James Damore, who's been on my show? James Damore, the former Google engineer who dared cite scientific research that shows that maybe men and women might not be as represented in high tech because they have different interests. He was fired. But this schmuck can cut on CNN and say, well, the reason why women perform better as leaders, not true, by the way, in this case, but the reason why they perform better is because they possess certain great qualities that men simply don't. That's okay. So then I started, of course, doing my God level sarcasm at her. I'm sure she'll block me soon. Dear noble female Samantha Power, I am a man, so I possess great rigor, but as you explained on CNN, I lack empathy because bruh, no ovaries. You should set up a Zoom seminar to teach men how to care, how to feel, and how to be human. Thank you, a troglodyte, Professor Dr. SAAD. Then I continued because once this pit bull hangs on that bone, I don't let go. Dear noble female Samantha Power, my wife and children told me that they love me. But as a man in no possession of ovaries, I don't understand what they are saying to me as I lack sentiments. As a woman, I know that you can help me. Thank you, a Neanderthal, Professor Dr. SAAD. And then finally, dear noble female Samantha Power, like you, I strongly believe that biological sex and gender are social constructions. I hate being a man, i.e. lacking empathy as you explain on CNN. If I self-identify as a female, I trust that I'll be more empathetic. Professor Dr. SAAD, in parentheses, Gzir/Gzi. Slowly we inch. If you sit idly, they're going to come for you. Cheers, everybody. Be safe.